This is the presentation that we made to the People, Performance and Development Committee of Surrey County Council about our pay dispute. Thank you for agreeing to hear our case. This is starting to feel like deja vu. For the third year in a row, the majority of your employees are being left behind, with many falling well below minimum acceptable income levels. Recruitment and retention are major issues. Market supplements are being introduced to try to recruit and keep social workers, and the use of expensive agency staff in children's services is at record levels. We've provided you with the Joseph Rowntree Foundation report on minimum acceptable income levels in 2023. The document provides loads of information regarding how this worked out, but I will draw your attention to the following line. A minimum is about more than survival alone. However, it covers needs, not wants, and necessities, not luxuries, items that people need to be part of society. The report asserts that the minimum standard income for a single person should be £29,500, and for a couple with 2 children, £50,000. This has gone up substantially from last year, when the figures were £25,500 and £43,400 respectively. In Surrey County Council, everyone on PS6, pay scale 0.1 and below, would fall below this recommended acceptable standard. That's more than 1 in 5 of the workforce at Surrey County Council. The Chancellor of the Exchequer actually recently said that even £100,000 per annum might not go as far as you think. We also provided you with our UNISON pay survey results from September last year. We had around 500 members take part, a very good turnout, nearly 25%. Nearly 60% of our members needed extra financial support last year, whether from their families, from credit agencies, from second jobs, or from in-work benefits. Over 300 of them took the time to write detailed responses. Bear with me while I read just 5. The first one. I earn less than £25,500 per year, and although I do not smoke, drink, dine out, or have takeaway food, only replace clothes with supermarket purchases, don't go on holiday, have a pet, visit the cinema or theatre, I'm still struggling to replace my 20-year-old car, which I need to carry out Surrey County Council's work as a reablement worker. Number 2, I have 3 children under the age of 12. I've had to increase my debt. I can no longer afford school dinners due to price increases. Holiday clubs are out of reach. Together, my husband and I earn more than £43,000. It just doesn't stretch at all, despite living within our means. On top of this, the workload at work has increased, so you're doing more for less. Number 3, by the time I've paid for my small mortgage, my car repayment, I can't do my job without a car, and bills, there's little to no money for anything else like going out, clothes or holidays, let alone any cash to save for them. All my spare money goes on food and petrol. I'm single and I really struggle to have a good quality of life. Last year I didn't put my heating on except for over Christmas as I was too frightened of the bills. This is the sad truth for me and many of my colleagues. Fourth one, we jointly earn more than £43,400 and we struggle. We don't have TV packages. We're only managing with old phones on the cheapest basic contracts, but we pay for Wi-Fi. We only buy essential food and yet we struggle to afford shoes and clothing. We have no social life and can't afford to eat out. Our daughters barely have any clothes and we can't afford to save any money to go on holiday. How is this a fair wage to live on? We physically make ends meet, but you can't keep going without a holiday or the occasional meal out or social activity. And lastly, I live alone in a studio flat. I barely go out. I can't afford to use much heating or shower without hot water and find myself struggling before payday each month. I earn more than I ever have, but with the cost of living, bills, council tax, rent, I barely make enough to cover each month, let alone to try and save for my future. Something's very wrong with this picture. 2 years ago, the National Joint Council, NJC settlement, was for a £1,925 consolidated pay increase for all NJC staff. We'd settled already earlier that year before the cost of living pressures had started to bite and before the NJC settlement. Our members were already starting to feel left behind. This was massively amplified last year when staff heard of the various settlements in the public sector, including the NJC again paying a lump sum of £1,925, and most of the Surrey districts and boroughs and neighbouring counties paying £2,000 and more. Compare this to Surrey County Council's imposed settlement last year of between £1,300 and £1,700 for the lowest paid staff between PS1 and PS8. And that was alongside some much larger pay rises above the NJC settlement, which were awarded to senior officers, up to more than £10,000 for the Chief Executive last year. Regarding the very lowest paid staff at SCC, we once again have employees who would be paid below the legal minimum wage from the 1st of April, if not for the emergency uplift being applied. This is a scandal. The current SCC offer brings the lowest paid employees up to just £12.04 per hour, just above the legal living wage of £11.44 and the real living wage of £12 per hour. This means that once again, the council will be in a position in April next year where they'll have to increase the pay of their lowest paid staff just to stay within the law. Surely in Surrey, council employees should be paid at least enough that they do not fall near what is a nationally accepted absolute minimum. Our wages have fallen below acceptable levels over the past decade and fallen well behind the cost of living, as we tried to demonstrate in our claim. In 2014, Surrey County Council gave everyone £250. Cost of living rose by 2.4%, and average pay settlements were 2.5%. In 2015, we got awarded £300. Cost of living went up 1%, average pay settlements went up 2.2%. In 2016, 2017, 2018 and 2019, that's 4 years in a row, we got zero pay increase, pay freeze. And the rise of the cost of living over those 4 years was 1.8%, 3.6%, 3.3% and 2.6%, with average pay settlements each year going up by 2 to 2.5%. In 2020, we got 2% across the board. Cost of living went up by 1.5%. Tiny bit of catching up. Average pay settlements, however, were up at 2.3%. In 2021, only grades up to PS7 got an increase, and that was a measly £350. Cost of living went up that year by 4.1%, and average pay settlements 2%. In 2022, we got £900 for PS8 to PS14, £1,300 PS3 to PS7, and £1,400 for PS1 to 2. Cost of living went up 11.6% last year, 2022. Average pay settlements went up by 4%. And last year, we got between 4.5% and 7.8%, whereas the cost of living went up by 9%, and the average pay settlements are yet to be confirmed. If the wages at Surrey had increased with the RPI each year since 2014, they would have risen by around 40%. In Surrey, our salaries have risen on average by less than 10%. The council needs to begin to rectify this by offering a fair and reasonable pay uplift from 1st of April this year. The council's budget for this year's pay award is 4%, yet the council tax increase is 4.99%. This could be seen as the cost pressures on staff being regarded as less important than other cost pressures on the council, robbing Peter to pay Paul. To avoid an escalation of this dispute, the planned strike ballots and potential strike action, the council must make an acceptable revised offer. UNISON carried out a consultative ballot of our members, which was conclusive. 87% of members voted to reject the offer. This was on a 53% turnout, comfortably above the legal threshold. Last year, our consultative ballot showed just over 80% of members that rejected the offer were prepared to vote for strike action. This year, that figure has leapt to 91%. Our members are telling us they want a fair settlement and are willing to fight for it. Last year, we carried out a formal industrial action ballot, and we were just 40 votes short of the 50% needed to be able to carry out lawful strike action. Believe us when we say we've learned lessons from that. We're confident we'll get a better turnout this time round. Our members are mostly based in children's services, adult social care and in schools. Any strike action would have a major impact on council services, including those the council is legally bound to provide. We all know about the major issues around My Surrey in Unit 4, and these have added to the anger and frustration of council employees. For a whole number of reasons, we're in an anxious and uncertain time, and an improved pay award may go some way to improving morale. At the very least, it would show that your workers have been listened to. We generally work very well with the council. We have a better working relationship than in many other local authorities. We work closely together on a range of employment issues to improve the working lives of all Surrey County Council employees. We do not want this dispute to jeopardise our relationship. We have no choice other than to pursue a fair pay settlement, given the clear mandate we have from our members. And we're prepared to do this with all means at our disposal, including balloting our members again for strike action over the next few weeks. If the council were to make an improved offer that we could recommend to members, this could be averted. If the council were to offer a consolidated lump sum on all pay points of £2,500 and agree to reinstate the 6 months full pay and 6 months half pay for sickness absence, we could be in a position to recommend this to our members. Also, 2 years ago, we were in dispute over Surrey Pay, and the council improved their offer by 1%, and our members accepted the revised offer. The recent acceptance of a revised offer by our approved mental health professional members is another good example of how we can reach a negotiated settlement, with both sides being prepared to move. I hope this shows that we're willing and prepared to negotiate a fair outcome to this dispute, and we hope the council will feel the same way.